So now what I want to do is look at the different types of relationships, because this is all about relationships, and how karmic patterns might be expressing themselves in your relationships. And as we go through each one of these, there's just a few slides on this. I want you to take note of anything that sounds familiar to you, because that's going to be ultimately your entry point. So of course we have karmic relationships in our intimate relationships, and you know, simpatico, and that you feel like, oh, they might be my, you know, soulmate, but I'm not sure, there's just something I'm not sure about. So that's that might show up. Or maybe you're in an established relationship, you've been in a relationship for quite a while, but there are issues around trust or commitment. That could be another type of way that karmic patterns express themselves. Or you're towards the end of a relationship, or you've ended a relationship, but there was a lack of closure. So there's a lot of pain or sadness or anger, fear, guilt, regret, or even clinging. So an inability to let go after the end of a relationship could signal a karmic pattern in intimate relationships. And certainly any intimate relationships that have an excessive amount of caretaking, boundary issues, control issues, or codependency. But then we also have, of course, our family, friends, and rivals. And when I say friends and rivals, that could be anyone who's anything from a friend to a colleague in your workplace to someone in your social circle. That's all encompassing in what I'm talking about here. So you may have or have had the experience of feeling disconnected with one or both of your parents, or a sibling or siblings. For instance, when I say that, I mean that sometimes people feel like they're the black sheep of the family, like I don't belong in the family. So sometimes that's a piece for that. Unhealthy role modeling from a primary caregiver will trigger your karmic patterns, but I just wanted to put that on the slide here. Anytime you've had the experience of unrequited love or inappropriate love. So when I say inappropriate love, I mean you fall in love with someone who's married or already in a relationship, or you are the other person in the relationship of that person, if that makes sense. So that's one way. Or inappropriate love would be not age appropriate. And I'm careful about saying that because I know that that's completely social, you know, a cultural thing, socioculturally defined what's appropriate. In some countries, it's okay for a 70-year-old man to marry a 14-year-old girl. But we're sort of talking in your world where you live, what's appropriate emotionally. I want to say emotionally. So a 60-year-old man or woman with a 20-year-old might not be quite age appropriate. A person in your community, social circle, someone that you maybe work with that you feel a really strong aversion to, and you're like, I don't get it. Like, why do I just, that person irks me. I don't like them, and I don't know why I don't like them. Or it could be the other way around, where you're in a someone doesn't like you and you're like, I didn't do anything. Like, why do they seem to have like something out for me, and I don't understand. They're always mean to me. They're, you know, so one way or the other on that. The experience of being rejected, or power differentials, being in a relationship where one person has a lot more money than the other person and uses that as a way to hold power over another person. It doesn't have to be money, because it can certainly be just a manipulation type of thing where there's a power by manipulation. Anytime that there's almost an excessive amount of anger, bitterness, jealousy, fear, or anxiety, And again, the codependency, caretaking, boundaries, these are all indicators of karmic patterns. And again, you don't need to understand or know anything more than we're just sort of giving you a menu, a buffet, if I will, of possibilities that you might be considering in what relationship you want to work with during the course of our time together. And then finally, we'll be looking at conflicting, or you'll want to be considering conflicting patterns in relationships. So you can have a karmic pattern that causes conflict in your relationship. Like, for instance, you might be someone who's really strong and confident in your career, but then you use work to avoid being in intimate relationships. Or maybe you're someone who's really loyal to other people, but you're not loyal to yourself, or you're someone who caretakes everyone else, but you don't take care of yourself. Maybe you're patient, which is such a virtue. I don't have that one. My husband reminds me that all the time. Maybe you're patient, but you stay in relationships too long. Or you could be overly trusting. So if you're overly trusting, you get betrayed, or someone betrays you. So again, giving you just some food for thought, some ideas to jog your mind of what types of relationships you've been in, what triggers are there for you here, what resonates with you. Be thinking of that. And then finally, I just wanted to share just a couple more signs of karmic imprints. So a karmic imprint is also known as a vasana in yoga wisdom tradition, and it's simply an energy pattern or energy residues that stay with you through different lifetimes. So signs of those could be that you have really strong emotions about something that aren't really based in something identifiable in this lifetime. For instance, phobias, strong aversions, strong attractions might be signs of karmic imprints, or fixed thoughts that you just have no justification for based on what you know about in this present lifetime. So those would be like mental constructs, mental frames that you have that just seem really unhelpful, but you're like, but this is like, I feel so strongly about this, but I don't know why. Like, there's nothing that happened to me in my life for me to be like this. So those are signs of karmic imprints as well.